Okay, hey guys. I'll come on just for a second. But I've had a flu for the last few days anyway. So I'm just going to be going over the documents that are coming out, and even I think as just before I came live, there was more documents even that came out. So I put that request in as well. So I have about 6 or 7 documents that came out so far this morning. I'll start. There was 2 to quash that first came out. Then these came out, the state's response to defendant's motion for discovery deadline. There's some affidavits and stuff like that. Oh, hey, Metal Mama Michelle. Nice to see you. Hi, sees through who dis. Mark, how are you? And Daniel, how are you? But yeah, so I'm still really trying to recover from this flu going on here that my brother-in-law gave to my husband and myself while my husband's at work. Good thing Judge Diner recused himself. Seems like he knew what might have been dug up on discovery and didn't want to drug down the rest of them. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Judith. And like I said, I'm just going to see if Brandy, because I just seen, let me look at my iPad again. Let's see here. She's always pretty quick, but so I think I seen one in there that just came in after, like just before I started the live. Something about the transfer, I think one was. Let me just take a quick boo again, since I got my docs pop here. I'm just gonna quickly go to it again because it's like, whoa, how many things are coming in today? Hey, Joan. Well, you know, I mean, I got them like as soon as the freaking docs pop came in. I got the first quash things, and those were quashes. So I was like, whatever. Okay, a couple quash orders. But then this stuff came in, and I was going to do a video, and I said, screw it. I'll just do a freaking live. And so let's see here. So we got, on the 10th, we have a quash filed. Then we got a response, state's response to motion for discovery. Then state's response to defense verified motion for immediate transfer. Oh, maybe that's in this. Well, no. Transfer. Oh, hold on. That's just my live starting. So anyway, so I'll just keep an eye on that to see if there's more that came in, because just as I was doing the live, all of a sudden my thing went off showing the docs pop again. So anyway, good morning, everybody. It's like, well, I've been up since, I don't even think I really slept, to be honest with you. But anyways, let's just get into the documents, and we'll do that, and then we can discuss that stuff. But let's just go through the different documents. You guys can hear me okay? Make sure. Prosecution is... Hi, hippie sissy. Good morning. On there. So I'm going to take myself off the screen. And... Oh, what is that? I heard something. sorry guys, if I'm just going to check my email for a second again as well. Just double check. No. Okay, something went ding, whatever. I'll look at that later. Okay, so like I said, let me just make sure my volume's up. It's kind of low. Okay, let me go here. Okay, so let's see. So state's response to defendant's motion for discovery deadline. Now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas McClelland and respectfully files its response to the defendant's motion for discovery deadline and would ask the court to consider the following: that the state of Indiana filed 2 counts of, we'll just say M, against the defendant on October 28, 2022, under that code right there. That at one time of the filing, the discovery material in this case consisted of 1,000s of tips consisting of phone messages, emails, thousands of police reports, video interviews, audio interviews, lab reports, pictures, phone extractions, and other documents of the like. That this investigation involved multiple law enforcement agencies from around the world, including local and state police, United States Marshal's Office, and the FBI. That when the state filed the charges, the discovery was not in a format that could easily be provided to the defense, meaning that all of the paper documents had to be copied or scanned, and all the electronic data had to be copied to the external hard drives, and all the reports from law enforcement had to be collected. That this consisted of hundreds of man hours to copy each paper document associated with a 6-year investigation, along with copying millions of terabytes of electronic data for the defense. That the state believes it has turned over everything in its possession and has no objection to the discovery deadline. That the state may learn of information in the deposition setting where defense counsel is present that will need to be investigated to prepare for trial. Sorry, just taking off a notification that's in my way and get you out of my way too. That does not mean that the state has reopened any investigation. It simply means that the state is doing its due diligence to prepare for trial. That the state will discover an exculpatory evidence received in preparation for the trial. That the defense's theory that the state is intentionally withholding evidence because it is exculpatory is not true. There was never any evidence intentionally withheld from the defense at any time. That the state does not believe it is in the possession of any exculpatory evidence for the defense. That the allegation that the state held on to evidence until it knew about the defense's theory has no basis or facts in support thereof. Any additional requests for discovery have been answered, and any discovery in possession of the state pursuant to the request has been turned over. That the defense has not turned over one piece of evidence from their investigation, interviews, or their participation in this case. That the state requests any discovery deadline be imposed upon both parties and the defendant be subject to Carroll County local rules in which the defendant is required to disclose the names of any witnesses he intends to call to trial or any hearing, along with their last known addresses, copies of their recorded statements and or recorded statements, any books, papers, documents, photographs, or tangible documents he intends to use as evidence at the trial or any hearing, any medical, scientific, or expert witness evaluation, statement, report, or testimonies which may be used at trial or any hearing, any defense, procedural, or substantive, which the defendant intends to make any hearing or trial, any record of prior criminal convictions known to the defendant or defense counsel that may be used for impeachment of the persons whom the defense intends to call at any hearing or trial. That the state has received no reciprocal discovery thus far. 17. Further, that the state would ask the court to admonish the defense to turn over any evidence as they get it and not dump all the evidence on the state on November 1st, 2023 at 11:59 p.m. Wherefore now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney McClelland and files a response to the defendant's motion for discovery request and asks that the court consider the same for all other just and proper relief in the premises. Okay, so there's that document. Okay, 1 second. Hey guys. Hey Sharon, how are you? Hi GP, how are you? Okay, so sorry, just gotta go to my email here. Just gotta open up the next one here. Okay, oops, wrong one. No, I shouldn't be in my email. I should be over here. Okay, so states response. Let's see. Can you guys see this one? Whoops, that's kind of big. That's a little, not quite enough. Okay. Can you guys see this one? Oops. Let me get out of here. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So maybe, I don't know. Why did I feel like I got another doc spot thing. How many did you get? Who dis? 2 for sure. But I thought there was 3. Maybe I'm sleep talking or something. I don't know. Okay. Um, so we'll go to this one. State's response to defense verified motion for immediate transfer of custody. Now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney McClelland and respectfully files its response to the defendant's verified motion for an immediate transfer of custody and would ask the court to consider the following: that the charges were filed against defendant Richard Allen on October 28, 2022 for 2 counts of M in violation of that code, that the Carroll County Sheriff's Department requested that the defendant be transferred to the Indiana Department of Correction for safekeeping, and said request was granted, that the defendant was transferred to Westville Correctional Facility and has been housed there since November 3rd, 2022, that within the facility he is housed in segregation unit for safety and protection, that the defense previously filed an emergency motion to modify the safekeeping order on April 5th, 2023, which was denied. That the defense then filed a motion to reconsider and request for due process hearing on May 3rd, 2023. That a hearing was held, after which the court denied the defense's motion to modify the safekeeping order, stating that the allegations advanced by the defense were not supported by the evidence presented. That the court added that the defendant was being treated more favorably than other inmates housed at the Westville Correctional Facility. That the court further commented that it was reasonable and necessary to house the defendant at Westville Correctional Facility to ensure the defendant's safety to prevent serious bodily injury to himself. That the defense has now filed a verified motion for immediate transfer of custody, alleging that additional mistreatment of the defendant at Westville Correctional Facility. Sorry, got another thing in my way, notification. That in the defense's latest motion, the defense now accuses Westville Correctional Facility correctional officers Sergeant Joshua Robinson and Sergeant Randy Jones of unjust and inhuman treatment of the defendant. That once again, the allegations in the defendant's motion, while colorful and dramatic, are not correct. That both Sergeant Joshua Robinson and Sergeant Randy Jones have worn patches that refer to Odinism. That those patches reflect Sergeant Robinson's and Sergeant Jones' religious beliefs and are not associated with any kind of cult. Okay, so there you go. The Sergeant Jones did not remove the patches from his vest until ordered to do so by command. That Sergeant Jones is assigned to the B pod of the unit, while the defendant is housed in A pod. That Sergeant Jones assists with moving the defendants from one spot to another within the facility, and has also been tasked with a 15-minute check-in with the defendants facilitated by his mental health safety plan. That Sergeant Jones does not choose which detail he works and works the details that he is assigned by his command. Sorry, another notification. That Sergeant Jones did remain at his post while the defendant visited with his wife, because that is what he was assigned to do. That the defense seems to imply that Sergeant Jones should have left his post in violation of his direct orders and therefore risk his employment just so that the defendant and his wife could have more privacy. The fact that the defense expects the defendant and his wife to have intimate privacy in a prison is astonishing. The Sergeant Jones has never threatened, harassed, or spoken one-on-one with the defendant. that Sergeant Jones was never ordered by his command to threaten or harass the defendant, that the defendant was tased twice between May 9th, 2023 and May 25th, 2023, because he would not follow the commands of the correctional officers. That the correctional officers are required to follow protocol when dealing with an inmate who is in violation of the rules. That Sergeant Jones did not tase the defendant out of anger, spite, or in an effort to hurt the defendant or treat him inhumanely. That Sergeant Robinson is assigned to APOD where the defendant is housed. That Sergeant Robinson has never harassed, threatened, or spoke one-on-one with the defendant. That Sergeant Robinson was never ordered by his command to threaten or harass the defendant. That Sergeant Robinson also continued to wear his patches until ordered to remove them by command. That inmate Robert Baston had written a few letters to the court claiming that correctional officers within Westville Correctional Facility are corrupt. That inmate Robert Baston is a convicted CM, under cause number blah, serving a 40-year sentence. That throughout his case, Robert Baston has asked for modification after modification throughout his case, citing wrongful conviction, that C word, pandemic, and even because the doc is providing the wrong kind of soap. Really? Wrong kind of soap. Okay. That Robert Baston, throughout his sentence, has tried every means imaginable to reduce or modify his sentence for his heinous crime. That at the hearing on June 15th of 2023, the defense subpoenaed inmate Robert Baston to court so that he could give a sworn statement to the court, and inmate Robert Baston refused to leave his cell. That the allegations made by inmate Robert Baston are hardly credible. That the defense's allegation that the correctional officers are attempting to conceal unacceptable practices is false. That Sheriff Tony Liggett has no vested interest in keeping the defendant at Westville Correctional Facility other than the safety and well-being of the defendant. That the defense insinuates that Sergeant Robinson and Sergeant Jones were assigned to assist with the moving of the defendant because they believe in Odinism, and that Westville Command intentionally did this in some effort to mistreat the defendant. That Warden John Gallipo had signed an affidavit attached to the response that ensures that no one in command has an agenda related to Odinism or ever ordered anyone under their command to harass or threaten the defendant. Hold on, guys. I need a sip of water. Okay. That Sergeant Jones and Sergeant Robinson have both signed affidavits attached to this response that outline their duties in the facility and affirm that they have never threatened, harassed, or made any references to Odinism to the defendant. That both Sergeant Joshua Robinson and Sergeant Randy Jones were interviewed at Westville Correctional Facility by investigators on September 18th, 2023, and were both found to be cleared of any wrongdoing. That neither Sergeant Robinson nor Sergeant Jones are part of a radical hate group. The defense continues to make unfounded accusations supported by absolutely no proof. That the defendant is isolated for his protection and would be isolated if he were moved to another facility. That if the defendant is moved to the Cass County Jail, he will be placed in essentially the same kind of holding cell that he is in now, with the exception that it would be more convenient for the defense. That the Carroll County Sheriff's Department does not have the manpower to transport the defendant. That the Carroll County Jail does not have the mental health counselors or counseling, whereas the Department of Corrections has those resources available for the well-being of the defendant. That the defendant is in no way treated less fairly than anyone else in that facility. He certainly is not being treated less fairly than a convicted person in that facility. That the colorful, dramatic language used by the defense was an attempt to curry public favor for their client and try this matter in the public eye instead of in the courtroom. as they have done in several motions to date. That again, the state has no opinion on where the defendant should be housed awaiting trial, but the state does not take offense to the irresponsible allegations, does take offense to the irresponsible allegations of the defense in their motion, including accusing two correctional officers of wrongdoing with absolutely no proof of such. That the state has no objection to the defendant being moved to a facility within the Department of Corrections to better accommodate his needs, but the court has already addressed that issue in previous orders. That the defendant's current placement at Westville Correctional Facility is not a violation of his civil liberties. That the condition of the defendant is housed in have not changed since the last time this issue was litigated in front of this court on June 15th of 2023. That the Carroll County Sheriff's Department declined the request of defense to move the defendant because the Carroll County Sheriff's Department does not have a manpower to transport the defendant. That the Department of Corrections is more equipped to transport the defendant back and forth to court dates in order to keep the defendant safe and to ensure he makes it to all future hearings. 56. That the defense is consuming the limited resources of the is office. That's good writing. Of the is office. Okay. And this court with repetitive motions that lack any factual basis. Wherefore now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClelland and files their response to the defendant's verified motion for immediate transfer of custody and would ask that the court consider the same when making its decision and for all other just and proper relief in the premises. I think that's it for that one. Okay, so that's of course the transfer thing. So there's 3 affidavits here. So let's see those. Okay. So these look like they're from, okay. So I think you guys can see that okay. Wow. As best as you can if you're on a phone anyway. So John Gallipo, the acting warden of Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Corrections, affirms and swears to the following. That the defendant Richard Allen is housed in the Westville Correctional Facility in the segregation unit. That the defendant is housed in the unit for his protection. That the cell that the defendant is housed in is 12 by 8 cell, which is the standard size cell in that facility. That the correctional officers guarding the defendant are assigned to that unit by myself and command. That the correctional officers at Westville Correctional Facility were allowed to wear any patches on their vests until the allegations made by the defense in their motion. Isn't that funny? They were allowed to wear them up until that point. Okay. That Westville Correctional Facility offers religious, that makes it look so bad when they say that, to be honest with you, not going to lie. The Westville Correctional Facility offers religious services if there are at least 5 individuals that practice religion in the complex, and to date, we do not have more than 5 individuals in that complex request to hold services related to Odinism. The defendant is on video while he is in his cell, and when he is moved from his cell, that the defendant is monitored by at least 3 correctional officers at all times during movement. That Sergeant Jones and Robinson were never placed on duty at the cell door to act as aside companion of the defendant one-on-one. That I have never received any reports that Sergeant Jones and Sergeant Robinson have mistreated the defendant. That no one in the facility has ever been ordered to command, to threaten, harass, or put the defendant in danger. The defendant is housed by himself and does not have any direct contact with other inmates. That I do not have an agenda or a vested interest in keeping the defendant incarcerated in a facility that is ripe with connections to Odinism. That the Westville Correctional Facility has very few inmates that practice Odinism. That none of those inmates are housed with or next to the defendant. And then, of course, they swear underneath, everything. So number 2, let's take a look. Number 2, So Sergeant Randy Jones, correctional officer at the Westville Correctional Facility, of course, which is part of the Indiana Department of Corrections, affirms and swears to the following: that I am a correctional officer at Westville Correctional Facility, that I have been assigned to the WCU unit at Westville Correctional Facility since December 11th of 2022, currently assigned to the B pod, that I have been acting supervisor in A pod where the defendant is housed since late February, early March of 2023, that I do not practice Odinism and that Norse paganism, heathenry, is my practicing religion, that I do wear patches on my uniform that identify me as someone who practices Norse paganism, heathenry, and that I started wearing the patches 6 or 7 months ago, and I did not stop wearing my patches until September 22nd, 2023, when ordered by my command to remove the patches. That the patches do not represent racism or hatred for anyone, that I am not part of a cult, that I am not part of a radical hate group, that the patches show my dedication to my faith and to my country, that the defendant is filmed with a handheld camera when he is moved from cell for his safety, that I interacted with the defendant when I was in charge of holding the handheld camera to film his movements when he is moved from cell to another area within the facility, that I was also assigned periodically to check on the defendant at his door with his 15-minute checks implemented by his mental health plan, that during door checks, I would walk to the defendant's cell, make sure he is okay and not at risk of self-harm, and then walk away, that I have never threatened the defendant, that I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant about Odinism, that I do not know anything about the practice of Odinism, that I have never had a one-on-one conversation with the defendant where I tried to influence him in any way, that I have gone above and beyond to not use any kind of force on the defendant, even though there have been times when the use of force was justified by standard operating procedures, that there have been times when I have gone above and beyond in order to be gentler with the defendant to prevent him from getting tased. That the defendant was tased twice between May 9th of 2023 and May 25th of 2023 because we could not get him to comply with our orders. That I have never had an excessive force complaint filed against me while I've been employed at Westville Correctional Facility. That I have been employed with the Department of Corrections since April 4th, 2022, and that this job is my passion and what I love doing. Okay, so there should be one more here. Affidavit number 3, obviously, should be Robinson. I think that's good. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. Oops, a little bit bigger. Okay. So Sergeant Joshua Robinson, correctional officer at the Westville Correctional Facility of Indiana Department of Corrections. And he affirms and swears to the following: that I am a correctional sergeant at Westville Correctional Facility and have been since October 17th of 2021. Well, in 7 days, that will be 2 years. I have been employed at Westville Correctional Facility since July of 2016, that I am assigned to a WCU unit at Westville Correctional Facility, A pod, but I've worked on B pod since the spring of 2022. That the defendant is assigned to A pod, that I do not practice Odinism, that I do wear patches on my uniform that can be but are not associated with Odinism, that the patches pay the utmost respect to my religious higher power the same way a Christian person would wear a cross, that I am not part of a cult, that I am not part of a radical hate group, that I started wearing the patches when the vests were issued to me and stopped wearing the patches on September 19th per the order of my commander, that the patches do not represent racism or hatred for anyone, that I have never had any interaction with the defendant that was not recorded, that I have never had any one-on-one interaction with the defendant where we were alone together. Sorry, guys, one more thing. Okay. that it would be impossible for me to have any one-on-one interaction with the defendant because policy mandates that at any time you engage with a member of that unit, you must be accompanied by another officer. That the defendant is on security plan that mandates at least 2 staff members and a video camera and are present when interacting with the defendant. That I have interacted with the defendant alongside Sergeant Jones, but that is always video monitored. That I have never threatened or harassed the defendant. That I have never had a one on one conversation with the defendant about Odinism. That I have never had a one on one conversation with the defendant where I tried to influence him in any way. That the only interactions that I've had with the defendant are the ones that are required by my duties as a correctional officer. Any and every interaction that I have had with the defendant has been because I was ordered to do so by command. Command has never ordered me to threaten or harass or harm the defendant. When I do speak to the defendant, I give him basic commands as to how to move while he is out of his cell. That all my interactions with the defendant have been documented on a video camera. That I've always treated the defendant with a level of respect and professionalism. That the defense untruthfully targets me as part of a cult. That I am not familiar with the evidence involved in the defendant's case besides what I've seen in the public media. That I have never had an excessive force complaint filed against me while I have been employed at the Westville Correctional Facility. Okay, so that was the ones that came out, and I'll just quickly pull up these two. They're not very long here. So there was 2 quashes as well that came out. So State of Indiana versus Richard Allen. Motion to quash subpoena comes now the defendant Richard Allen by counsel Bradley Rossi and pursuant to Rule 45 of the Indiana Rules Trial Procedure requests that this honorable court quash the subpoena issued by Carroll County Prosecutor Nicholas McClelland on or about the 25th day of September 2023 in the above captioned matter. In support of said motion, defendant Allen states as follows. On or about September 25, 2023, defendant Allen was served with a motion for leave of court to subpoena third-party records. Attached to said motion was a subpoena, Duces Tecum, directed to Westville Correctional Facility, a division of the Indiana DP or DC or whatever. More specifically, said subpoena referred to the following documents and records to be produced. Any medical records that you may have concerning Richard M. Allen, including all records from any physicians that have been evaluated or examined Richard M. Allen from the beginning of his stay at the Westville Correctional Center on or about November 3rd, 2022 until present, that the results of any medical evaluation or exams performed on Richard M. Allen while he has been incarcerated at Westville Correctional Facility on or about November 3rd, 2022 until present, and any other documents, records, notes, videos, and or writings that the facility may have pertaining to Richard M. Allen medical health during the time of incarceration at WCF on or about November 3rd, 2022 until present, that a subpoena is unreasonable and oppressive for the following reasons. The requested documents may contain medical or psychiatric information associated with defendant Allen and therefore are protected underneath 45 CFR, etc. To the extent that the defendant Allen has raised issues regarding his mental condition, this has been raised in the context of the defendant Allen requesting that he be relocated from the Westville Correctional Facility where he is and has been housed in the most isolated of circumstances for nearly the past year, that the Carroll County prosecutor, by his own admission, has no dog in this fight because safekeeping order on November 3rd, 2022, transferred jurisdiction of defendant Allen from Carroll County Sheriff to Indiana Department of Corrections. To date, there have been no insanity defenses filed by the defense, nor has the defense requested a competency evaluation with regards to defendant Allen's ability to stand trial, and therefore defendant Allen's mental state is not an issue in the guilt and innocence phase of this proceeding, that the requested information is not likely to lead to the discovery of admissible evidence. Defendant Allen respectfully requests that the court issue an order quashing the subpoena and for all other just and proper relief in the premises. Okay, and then there Should just be one more. Which one was this one? Motion of quash. Number 2. Okay, it's not the same thing, really. Mm. Yeah, that's just the same thing. Okay. Let me just quickly check my email. I just want to see if there was anything else because I swore that my thing went off, but I could be wrong. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know because I heard my email go off, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe that's everything now. Okay. Hey guys. I'll just see what you guys are saying. I just really want to come on here and read the documents for you guys just to make it a little easier. Not a little bit Mustang, but I'm kind of overheating at the moment and it's making me a little bit dizzy. That's okay. But so I'm just going to do this. I'm not doing it live tonight. Yeah, it's just been hard trying to breathe when you're, it's just your standard head cold, eh? You know, just sucks because the brother-in-law that gave it to us literally had it for 2 days. Well, me and my husband had it all over this long weekend because it was our Thanksgiving, yesterday. But we just pretty much, well, stayed in bed. Anyways, prison guards, but thank you for asking. Prison guard, their job is secure, keep everyone safe, and then a lot of them are teasing, beating up on prisoners, and so forth. So if he wants to claim that he's never done that, he's right. I mean, at the end of the day, no one's ever gonna sit there and say, "Yeah, and I swear under oath that I, personally punch, kick, and freaking knee him and stuff on the way while where he's going to a different cell." I'd like to see one moron that would ever say that in a sworn affidavit. I had family and friends in the prison. They don't tell the story like he is. Currently watching Girls Incarcerated season 2. It was filmed in LaPorte Jew facility where Gallipo. Oh yeah, right. I've been watching Super Nanny for some odd reason. Came across her and I was like, Super Nanny. I don't know. I've been watching a bunch of different stuff while I've been underneath the weather here. Hi Skittles, how are you? Yeah, right. You talking about the warden? Are you talking about the warden, right? Who just Yeah, that warden, whatever his name is again, Gallipo, that person's not so innocent. I remember when Lewis sent a bunch of fascinating articles. Just right, just put in his name into Google, right? Yeah, nothing innocent about that guy whatsoever. Isn't that hot? Isn't that the warden that had his wife staying with him? Is that the one? Wasn't there an article about that? Had his wife staying at the correctional facility? Pretty sure that was him. I'm not going to swear on it, but I'm pretty sure when I read that one article, there was something. Let me just put it this way: he's definitely not innocent. Yeah, this spring also. Yeah, you know, I'm probably going to put him um into the corrupt file of people for sure. Pendleton Westfield. Yeah, I believe he goes. I mean, like I said, it's never as cut and dried as what they try to make it. Yes, thank you, Hudis. His family was living in the Warden house without him. Something like that. And it was a money thing. Yeah. Anyways, another corrupt individual right there. Uh-huh. Okay, I don't think I guess I was wrong. I thought that maybe it was a different email. I have 5 emails, but I just seen it highlighted, so I clicked on it. Um, Let me just double check. It's just that I get them to. It is so strange. I get them to one email, a crime and shame, but when I request them, I request them from my original, like my regular standard email. Um, so let me just check, and then I'm gonna get going. I've been watching. You know what I did, you guys? I was watching a couple Christmas movies. Like I haven't really slept, right? It's kind of hard to sleep when you can't really breathe out of your nose from your head cold. Um, Anyways, so I watched 2 Christmas movies, Hallmark Christmas movies, because they were on YouTube and they were just free ones. Oh, and I watched this other one, this one, another show that was really good. I don't know. I've just been watching a bunch of different stuff. Okay, let me just quickly. Okay, so just looking. Okay, so we got the quash filed, quash filed. Watch, I'm gonna end the live and go and watch. Ding! Here's another piece of paper. Response to petition filed. Response to petition filed. The quashed ones I put out earlier because there was just 4 pages, but I wasn't. There's too many pages here that I was like, forget it. Just do a live. Okay, response. Defendant's additional Frank's notice. No, that's old. Okay. The defense response to transfer. I think this is it. I thought there was more coming in. I thought there was another one. All right, I guess I'm wrong. Um, hey, Carol. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the update. Yeah, thank you. He speaks in the show. That's why I'm watching it. Oh, does he? Yeah. Okay. Rory thinks he's being abused now. Wait until he's found guilty, and then he will be abused. Yeah. Oh, hey. Oh, you know what, you guys? Here, I'll just quickly. Or just give me 1 second. 1 second. Is today Wednesday? Oh no, it's only Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. I'll just come on for 1 second. So tomorrow, oh, I feel like I'm peaked. It definitely was. You guys, honestly, when I was reading that, I totally felt like I was gonna pass out for a second. I was like, I was reading and I started feeling dizzy. And I was like, oh, I gotta make it through these papers. Anyways, tomorrow night on the Drunk Turkey Show, Rick Snay is going to be on the Drunk Turkey Show. So I told Daniel from the Drunk Turkey Show that I'd let you guys know. So for whoever doesn't know, the Drunk Turkey Show usually goes on at 5:30 my time. So I think the Drunk Turkey Show, are they one time zone or two? I think that I want to say that they're either 1 hour or 2 hours. I don't remember. Anyways, if you're not subscribed to the Drunk Turkey Show, go subscribe to them. That way you'll get the notification. So, I just told Daniel that I would let him know to anyone here that doesn't watch them that so Rick Snay will be on the Drunk Turkey Show tomorrow night. Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, and there's some crazy stuff kind of going on with the whole Koberger case a little bit, but I'm not going to get into that. Just this airmail stuff that's saying that Steve Gonzalez said this, and then Steve Gonzalez put out a statement saying basically BS and stuff like that. My board won't show me what I'm typing. My keyboard won't show me what I'm typing. Oh, is that just because of your setting? When like mine does as well. What's that? Is that what you're watching? Who does this link? Big old link that you got there? What is this? What's that? Just taking a boo for a second. Oh yeah, Westfile. Okay. I mean, oh yeah, you're ghost texting. Okay. 1 second. Ow, ow, that hurt my lip. Uh, let's see. Hold on. Uh, Stop screen. Present. Yeah. Maybe we'll just take a little boo with it for a second. Okay. Um. Okay. So this is like the wording, you guys, that we're talking about. So just get off my screen. Okay. Westville Warden of the Westville Correctional Facility in LaPorte County has admitted to violating a state law prohibiting the personal use of state property, according to a report by David Cook, Indiana's Inspector General. Warden John Galeppo, I'm just trying to think of Bordeaux, I think it's Galeppo, recently signed a settlement agreement with the Inspector General acknowledging his misuse of the warden's residence, 134 Circle Drive. Huh. So funny that that's Circle Drive because what Circle Drive was the name of the road in, you know, oh my goodness. Why can't I think of the name all of a sudden? Charlotte, Charlotte Cena, or Senna. Anyways, where the Cracker Jack, one of his homes, the home that he owned, was on a Circle Drive as well. Go figure. Agreeing to pay a fine of $2,790, Cook said. According to the report, Galeppo permitted his wife and later his adult son and granddaughter to live in the warden's residence at the prison at various times during the summer and fall of 2021, while Galeppo lived in his home in I'm not sure how to say this, you guys, but Val Valparaiso? Val Valparaiso? I don't know. Valparaiso? Under Indiana law, I like the name, but I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it. I don't know if I'm butchering the name. Under Indiana law, state-owned residences of the department DOC property only can be occupied by staff and is necessary to promote the security and maintenance of the facility, the report said. According to the report, DOC requires each staffer occupy a state-owned DOC residence to sign a lease agreement, pay rent through biweekly payroll deductions, and provide proof of the renter's insurance prior to occupying the property. In this case, Galeppo did not sign a lease for the residence until December 21st, 2021, and had never rent deducted from his paycheck, Cook said. Crook. Okay. Moreover, Galeppo told DOC executive that he was living at the residence the entire time, even though activity records for Galeppo state-owned vehicle showed it was not parked at the residence overnight even once during the 30-day period prior to meeting with the DOC executive, according to the report. The report said Galeppo, sorry guys, my lips are so dry from this cold. Subsequently told the DOC executive January 10th, 2022, that he intended to occupy the residence full time beginning January 15th, 2022. In response, Galeppo was told his request was denied, advised he never again occupied the warden's residence in order to have his family members vacate the residence immediately, according to the report. The report said Galeppo confirmed the DOC his family members no longer were living in the warden's residence as of January 11, 2022. The Inspector General said Indiana law is clear about the permissible use of DOC residences by DOC employees, and Galeppo failed to follow the statute. Galeppo used the warden's residence was not to promote the security and maintenance of the Westville Correctional Facility. Furthermore, Galeppo failed to have a lease or payroll deduction form to put in place at any time he or his family members lived in the warden's residence in violation of the policy. Thus, Galeppo was using the state-owned residence for purpose other than official state business in violation of the Indiana Code, Cook said. The Inspector General also determined as part of the investigation that the state-owned homes at all DOC properties except West... Oops, someone's subscribing. Thank you, subscriber. I'm not on that page, so thank you for subscribing. except Westville and Putnamville Correctional Facilities were managed through DOC's Centralized Finance Unit. That Galeppo case prompted the centralized unit to take charge of overseeing the leases state-owned residences at Westville and whatever it is, Putnamville. Putnam. What is all these names? I swear to God, you got Putnam freaking Cobra case, you got Circle Drive over on the Charlotte Senna case. It's so weird sometimes when you just see names that coincide with other cases you're following. According to the report, records show Galeppo continued to serve as a warden at Westville, a post he's held since June 2019. Oh, sorry, just needed a drink of water. Galeppo began his career at the DOC as a correctional officer in 1996. Let's see here. Investigative report. The Indiana General Assembly charged the Office of Indiana Inspector General OIG. Hold on, let me go back up. Indiana Office of Inspector, Chief General, Legal Counsel Tiffany Mulligan, after an investigation by Inspector General Special Agent Michael Lepper, reports as follows. Okay, that the Indiana General Assembly charged the Office of the Indiana, so OIG, with addressing fraud, waste, abuse, and wrongdoing in the executive branch agencies of the state of Indiana. The OIG investigates allegations of criminal activity and code of ethics violations within the state government Indiana code. That the OIG recommended policies to carry out other activities designed to deter, detect, and eradicate fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement and misconduct in the state government of Indiana. On February 2nd, 2022, OIG received a complaint alleging that John Galeppo, the warden of the Indiana Department of Corrections, how did he think he was going to get away with that crap? IDOC Westville Correctional Facility had his family members living in the state-owned residence without him. And that the IDO, like, I just don't understand it, unless like somebody else, like how that, like what even goes through your pea brain to think that you're going to get away with that stuff? Like, really? Unless you got a bunch of corrupt people around you that just like, no problem, just do it. IDOC maintains several state-owned residences at the Westville Correctional Facility where certain qualified IDOC employees can live. Anyways, bottom line is, he's corrupt, and there's more than just this. Like this is probably one of the more nominal things, but but when I say nominal, he's still like, this guy is not innocent by no means. And that's what's always funny, is that there's certain things that people get caught for, and there's a lot more that they don't get caught for, Thank you. He makes $91K a year. I love when people try to pronounce stuff and get all tongue-tied. I should make you read something over here in French, even. Who does? Oh, yeah. I bet you couldn't get past the first couple of words. So what did she say, Val? I think I said Val Pariso, because it said like our Val Paraiso, because it was VALPARAISO. Yeah. So however that came out of my mouth, I don't know. Peru has a bunch of presidents' names for streets and other town in Indiana. Has fairy tale names. I'm just gonna say this funniest thing before I get off here, you guys. So when I was talking with this person in Michigan a long time ago, there's this place that's in Michigan that's called Christmas. And I was like, oh my God, really? There's really a place called Christmas? Sweet. Freaking ass dump. Like, how dare you call something named Christmas and it be a dump little town? How? We have Santa Claus, Indiana. Do you? It's just, to me, if you're gonna name something special after Christmas, place better be darn right special to go with it, Like when I think of like Christmas, I'm not going to sit there and think of a pie hole of a place. I'm going to think of like decked out, really cool place. I don't know. Just me. I just thought it was kind of cool though that there's like literally a place called Christmas and stuff like that. I get those roads like Reindeer Way and blah 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 blah, but when you call a place called Christmas, you better make that down special, or even Santa Claus. I don't know. I have to Google that. Santa Claus does a massive Christmas thing each year, not a trash hole. Yeah, I'll have to look that one up and see. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna head off here. But then, anyways, thank you guys again. This was just all the documents that came out today. 2 quashes, the state's response for the discovery, the motion transfer, and then the affidavit from Galeppo, or whatever his freaking name is, Randy Jones, and Joshua Robinson. Hey, I did pretty good considering that was off the top of my head. Anyways, you guys take care. All the best. Have a great Tuesday. And don't forget, Drunk Turkey Show, Rick Snae's on it. I think it's going to be talking about the pictures and stuff like that. Actually, you know what? Well, I still have a minute. We talk about those pictures for a second. So I don't know why these pictures are getting rehashed again in the Delphi case. Because that guy, his name is Chris Todd, the guy that wrote the book saying that it was Ron Logan that did it. So Chris Todd got those pictures. Okay. And if people don't remember how he got them, I've said it. I've said it in a membership thing. Is that my husband? And so anyways, so for some reason, these pictures are being talked about again. So, that's my husband. He's saying love you. So I don't think he used the word beautiful this time. So that's usually when I say it for him. Love you, beautiful. So he remembers to say it back. Okay. But anyways, so these Delphi are crime scene photos of Abby and Libby. Okay, first of all, that douche named Chris Todd, he had those pictures back over 10 months ago, even longer probably. So Matt Sullivan, Chris Todd, Jason Jensen, and Rick Snae were doing a live. I don't watch the guy. I can't really speak about him too much. He's not my cup of tea. Can I put it that way? He's not my cup of tea. He's kind of wacky a little bit, but whatever, right? Not my cup of tea. But anyways, I remember that show. And I remember that Chris Todd was trying to show the pictures to Court TV, right? And Vinnie Politan didn't want to have nothing to do with that, right? You're not going to be putting up stuff like that. So on that particular live, Chris Todd, he's sitting there with his cell phone in his hand. He's like, come on, like basically, like, let's rock and roll now. I got pictures right here, right? And you can tell, Douche. He ended up showing this blurry picture of a Nike shoe. And he had a lot more than that. And basically, Jason Jensen kind of covered his butt because he made a comment about the crime scene, like photos, whatever, right? That he had some pictures. And then Jason Jensen made a comment saying something like, well, you shouldn't be in possession, something like that, possession of those photos because it could be, it is CP, child P, right? And blah, blah, blah. And then, so when Chris Todd said was talking about pictures and then saying that he had requested for like the body ones. Okay, hold on. I just went blurry. Okay, bullshit, buddy. Okay, bullshit, Chris Todd. You had those pictures as you were talking because you guys are all freaking bunch of liars. Don't know how to keep your stuff straight. Hold on, my camera is blurry. 1 second. So, anyways, wait, I'm still blurry. Come on, stupid camera. Don't care. Okay, that's better. Okay. So yeah. So I could see Jason Jensen's eyes like a deer in headlights when he was talking about the pictures. And then Rick Snare was like, whoa, what kind of pictures you wanting to show here, right? Like, I don't think anyone wants to see any pictures of the crime scene or something like that. Um, and then you could tell like he's sitting there scrolling through his pictures there. So Chris Todd is a person. And I know for a fact, Chris Todd is the one with those pictures. And he obviously, and just like that live, the people that seem to have them, you know, Rick Snay, Brandon Woodhouse, probably because Brandon Woodhouse claimed to seeing pictures, that he had saw photos. But Chris Todd is the one that had these pictures from a long time ago. And the pictures that he showed you was the pictures of the clothes in the water, because no idiot, you would think, would put them on social media, even though I'm pretty sure Chris Todd would do it. Either way, I don't know why these pictures are being brought up again. So Chris Todd's had them for quite a while, since before that live. Again, if you don't remember where he got them from, I sure do. And I have the proof to go with that. And a lot of people might not know what I'm talking about because I've only ever said it once. And I'm not going to say it here. If you knew how Chris Todd got those pictures, you'd be disgusted. But anyways, so seems to be a big deal about these pictures again. And like I said, they've been he's had them for a while. But anyways, he was blatantly lying on that live when he acted like, as soon as Jason Jensen's eyes went freaking like a deer in headlights, he's like, whatever. And he's like, well, I'm just going to put it out there that I've requested them, and stuff like that. Dude, shut up. All you have to listen to is that segment to know that you were just simply being a liar. Either way, that's where they're coming from, Chris Todd. Okay? And anyone that has those pictures, it's because they got them from Chris Todd. So I'm just going to put that out there. And I know where Chris Todd got them from. But anyways, I don't know who's all seen them. All I know is that there's definitely some low-hanging fruit that has them in their hands as well. Because when you deal with someone like Chris Todd, who is a low-hanging fruit, and he hangs around low-hanging fruit, not everyone, but most, then what do you expect, right? So I'm just telling you right now that those pictures have been out for a long time. But Rick Snay made a point of, I guess, bringing it up on his a post or something like that. I didn't know about it. Somebody told me about it. I went to go look at it, and sure enough. So anyways, for anyone that is curious about those photos and where they came from, Chris Todd, your man. Okay? Anyways, you guys, that's it. I use it. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. The defense's response. Yeah. Anyways, you guys, okay? So I'm just going to leave you with that note at the end. You guys have a great day. Take care. And it's the 10th of the 10th, October 10th. Anything pressing going on? I don't think so. Okay, guys, take care. Have a great day. Thank you. This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor from It's a Crime and Shame, wishing you all a good night.